Our story begins billions of years ago. The Earth was young. It was a place of fire and chaos. Tiny atoms, the building blocks of all matter, swirled in the primordial soup. These atoms, unconscious and simple, would eventually give rise to everything we know. This is the ultimate origin, the foundation upon which our epic journey rests. Over eons, these atoms combined. They formed molecules, and these molecules became more complex. Life emerged simple at first in the vast oceans. Single-celled organisms, replicating and evolving, began the slow process of life's ascent. From these humble beginnings, life diversified and spread. Plants took root, harnessing sunlight for energy. Creatures evolved to navigate the oceans, then land. The Earth teemed with a breathtaking array of life forms, each a testament to the power of evolution. Millions of years passed. Among the diverse creatures that evolved were primates. These intelligent, adaptable beings were our ancient relatives. They lived in trees, foraged for food, and formed social groups. Within the primate lineage, a new branch emerged, one destined to shape the planet. Around 6 million years ago, the first hominids appeared. These were our direct ancestors, the earliest members of the human family. They walked upright, a crucial adaptation that freed their hands for tool use. The ability to manipulate their environment set them on a different path. One group of hominids, Homo erectus, took a momentous step. They ventured out of Africa, their cradle of origin, and spread across the globe. This migration marked the beginning of humanity's global dominion. It was a testament to their adaptability and drive to explore. As they migrated, they encountered new environments and challenges. They learned to control fire, a pivotal technology that provided warmth, protection, and the ability to cook food. This mastery of fire further separated them from the animal kingdom. It allowed them to thrive in colder climates and fueled their expansion. In Europe and Western Asia, another human species emerged, the Neanderthals. Stocky and strong, they were well suited to the harsh conditions of the Ice Age. Neanderthals were intelligent and resourceful. They crafted tools, hunted large animals, and even seemed to have rituals hinting at complex thought. Meanwhile, in Africa, our own species, Homo sapiens, was evolving. We possessed larger brains and a remarkable capacity for language and abstract thought. These traits would prove crucial to our success. We were not the only humans on Earth, but we were destined to become the dominant force. The stage was set for a momentous encounter. Homo sapiens, driven by curiosity and a relentless search for resources, began to migrate out of Africa. They encountered their Neanderthal cousins, and the two groups coexisted, even interbred for thousands of years. The exact nature of their interactions remains a mystery, a source of endless fascination for archaeologists and geneticists. This period of prehistory, from the first spark of life to the dawn of civilization, laid the groundwork for everything that followed. It was a time of immense change, driven by the forces of evolution and the remarkable adaptability of life itself. The journey from atoms to empires had begun. Around 200,000 years ago, Homo sapiens emerged in Africa. They were not the only humans on Earth. Neanderthals, their close cousins, occupied parts of Europe and Asia. Yet there was something unique about these new humans. They possessed a spark, a capacity for thought and innovation that would set them on a different trajectory. These early Homo sapiens were skilled hunters and gatherers. They lived in small nomadic bands, moving with the seasons and the availability of resources. Their lives were intricately intertwined with the natural world. They possessed a deep knowledge of plants, animals, and the rhythms of the earth. Survival was a constant challenge, demanding cooperation, ingenuity, and courage. Their tools, though simple, were crafted with care and skill. They used stone, bone, and wood to create blades, scrapers, and points for hunting and processing food. These tools were not merely functional. They were extensions of their minds, reflecting their growing capacity for abstract thought and planning. Each tool was a testament to their ability to shape their environment to their needs. Section 2. The Cognitive Revolution. Around 70,000 years ago, something extraordinary happened. A change occurred in the brains of Homo sapiens, a cognitive leap that set them on a path to global dominance. This cognitive revolution, as it is called, allowed them to think in ways no other species ever had. It was the dawn of language, art, and complex social structures. With language, they could communicate complex ideas, share knowledge, and pass down information across generations. Stories, myths, and beliefs could be shared, creating a sense of shared identity and purpose. This ability to cooperate in larger numbers and across greater distances gave them a significant advantage over other human species. Art, too, flourished during this period. Cave paintings, carvings, and sculptures emerged, revealing a capacity for abstract thought and symbolic expression. These early artworks were not mere decorations, they were expressions of creativity, belief, and a desire to make sense of the world around them. They offer a glimpse into the minds of our ancestors, revealing their hopes, fears, and dreams. The cognitive revolution marked a turning point in human history. It was the moment we began to think of ourselves as separate from the natural world, capable of shaping it to our will. It was the birth of human culture, as we know it, a force that would forever alter the course of life on Earth. Section 3. Masters of Adaptation. Equipped with their newfound cognitive abilities, Homo sapiens thrived. They adapted to a wide range of environments, from the savannas of Africa to the frozen wastelands of the Arctic. Their ability to innovate and cooperate allowed them to overcome challenges that had limited other human species. They developed new hunting techniques, crafting more sophisticated tools and weapons. They learned to fish, expanding their diets and exploiting new food sources. They domesticated dogs, forming a powerful partnership that aided in hunting and provided companionship. This adaptability and resilience enabled them to spread across the globe. As they migrated, they encountered new plants and animals. They learned to identify edible species, experimenting with different methods of preparation. They discovered the power of fire to transform food, making it safer, more digestible, and more flavorful. This mastery of fire and food was crucial to their survival and expansion. Their success was not solely due to their intelligence and adaptability. They also possessed a remarkable capacity for violence. Competition for resources and territory often led to conflict, and Homo sapiens, with their superior weapons and strategies, often emerged victorious. This darker side of human nature, though often overlooked, played a significant role in their rise to dominance. Section 1. The Cradle of Civilization. As the last ice age receded, a new chapter began in human history. In the fertile crescent of Mesopotamia, nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, the seeds of civilization were sown. Here, in this land of abundant sunshine and fertile soil, Homo sapiens made a momentous transition. They abandoned their nomadic ways and established permanent settlements, marking the dawn of agriculture. These early farmers, the Sumerians, discovered that they could cultivate wild grains like wheat and barley. This discovery was a turning point. No longer entirely reliant on hunting and gathering, they could now control their food supply, ensuring a more stable and predictable source of sustenance. This newfound stability allowed populations to grow, villages to expand, and a new way of life to take root. Life in these early settlements, however, was not without its challenges. The transition to agriculture was a gradual process, and for centuries farming communities continued to rely on hunting and gathering to supplement their diets. The labor required to cultivate crops was intense, demanding long hours under the scorching sun. The success of their harvest was at the mercy of unpredictable weather patterns, with droughts and floods posing constant threats. Despite these hardships, the people of Mesopotamia persevered. They developed ingenious methods for irrigating their crops, channeling the waters of the Tigris and Euphrates to their fields. They invented tools like the plough and the sickle, making the task of farming more efficient. These innovations, driven by necessity and fueled by human ingenuity, laid the foundation for the rise of civilization. The invention of agriculture had profound consequences, extending far beyond the fields of Mesopotamia. It spurred a cascade of innovations that would transform human society. As settlements grew larger and more complex, so too did the need for new ways to organize labor, manage resources, and maintain order. This led to the emergence of specialized skills, social hierarchies, and eventually the institutions of government. The surplus of food produced through agriculture freed some individuals from the demands of subsistence farming. This allowed them to specialize in other crafts such as pottery, weaving, and metalworking. These skilled artisans produced goods that could be traded, leading to the development of early forms of commerce and trade networks. As trade flourished, so too did the need for record-keeping. The Sumerians developed a system of writing, cuneiform, one of the earliest known forms of written language. Cuneiform, etched onto clay tablets, allowed them to record transactions, keep track of inventories, and communicate across distances. This invention revolutionized communication, allowing knowledge to be preserved and transmitted across generations. The rise of cities also brought about new challenges. Living in close proximity to one another, humans had to find ways to coexist peacefully and resolve disputes. This led to the development of laws, codes of conduct, and systems of justice. The Code of Hammurabi, one of the earliest known legal codes, established a system of laws and punishments intended to maintain order and protect the rights of citizens in ancient Babylon. As Mesopotamian civilization flourished, it exerted a powerful influence on surrounding regions. Trade routes carried not only goods but also ideas and technologies, spreading Mesopotamian culture far and wide. The rise of powerful city-states, each vying for control of resources and trade routes, led to periods of conflict and conquest. Empires rose and fell, their fates often determined by the ambition of their rulers, the strength of their armies, and the vagaries of fortune. To the east, in the Indus Valley, another great civilization emerged. The Indus Valley Civilization, known for its advanced urban planning, sophisticated sanitation systems, and enigmatic script, thrived for centuries, leaving behind impressive ruins that continue to intrigue archaeologists today. Their cities, laid out in a grid pattern with impressive drainage and sewage systems, suggest a highly organized and technologically advanced society. In Egypt, along the banks of the Nile River, the pharaohs unified the land under their rule. They commanded vast resources, constructing monumental pyramids and temples that stand as testaments to their power and the skill of their builders. The Egyptians developed a complex system of hieroglyphic writing, a rich mythology, and sophisticated astronomical knowledge, leaving an indelible mark on human history. These early civilizations, though geographically distant, were linked by a web of trade, diplomacy, and cultural exchange. Ideas and technologies flowed between them, influencing one another's development. This interconnectedness, driven by human curiosity and the pursuit of wealth and power, laid the groundwork for the globalized world we live in today. While empires rose and fell in Mesopotamia and Egypt, a sophisticated civilization flourished along the Indus River Valley. This civilization, contemporary to its Mesopotamian and Egyptian counterparts, remains shrouded in mystery, its script still undeciphered, its secrets yet to be fully unlocked. What we do know from the impressive ruins of cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa hints at a highly advanced and meticulously planned society. The Indus cities were marvels of urban planning. Straight streets intersecting at right angles divided the cities into neat, organized blocks. Houses built of standardized bricks featured private wells and bathrooms connected to an elaborate sewage system. This emphasis on sanitation suggests a concern for public health and hygiene far ahead of its time. The discovery of large, well-proportioned granaries points to a centralized system of food storage and distribution. These granaries, along with evidence of standardized weights and measures, suggest a sophisticated economic system capable of supporting a large population. The Indus people were skilled traders, their networks extending as far as Mesopotamia, exchanging goods such as cotton, textiles, and precious stones. Despite their advancements, the Indus civilization declined and eventually vanished, leaving behind tantalizing clues but no definitive answers. Climate change, shifting river patterns, and potential social upheavals have all been proposed as possible factors in their demise. Their legacy, however, endures, a testament to the ingenuity and sophistication of these early urban planners and the mysteries that still lie buried beneath the sands of time. Along the fertile banks of the Nile River, another great civilization arose, ancient Egypt. Ruled by powerful pharaohs, considered divine kings, Egypt flourished for millennia, its culture characterized by its distinctive art, complex religious beliefs, and monumental architecture, most notably the iconic pyramids. The pyramids, massive tombs for the pharaohs, stand as enduring symbols of Egyptian power and ingenuity. These colossal structures, built with astonishing precision using only simple tools and human labor, were designed to ensure the pharaoh's safe passage into the afterlife. Within their depths, they were buried with treasures, provisions, and the texts and rituals deemed necessary for their eternal journey. Egyptian society was highly stratified with a rigid social hierarchy. At the apex stood the pharaoh, considered a living god responsible for maintaining order and harmony, mediating between the gods and the people. Below the pharaoh were priests, nobles, scribes, artisans, and finally the vast majority of the population, the farmers who toiled the land, providing the surplus that supported the pharaoh's court and the grand projects that defined their civilization. The Egyptians developed a sophisticated system of writing, hieroglyphics, a combination of pictograms and phonetic symbols. They excelled in mathematics, astronomy, and medicine, developing a calendar based on the solar year, charting the movements of the stars, and pioneering surgical techniques. Their art, characterized by its stylized figures and intricate details, adorned their temples and tombs, offering glimpses into their beliefs, rituals, and daily lives. As Egypt prospered, another power was rising in Anatolia, the Hittite Empire. The Hittites, skilled warriors and metalworkers, forged a powerful empire, challenging Egypt's dominance in the Near East. Their clashes, most notably the epic Battle of Kadesh, reshaped the political landscape of the region. The Battle of Kadesh, fought near the Orontes River in modern-day Syria, was one of the largest and most significant chariot battles in ancient history. It pitted the armies of Ramses II of Egypt against those of Muwatalli, the second of the Hittites, both rulers seeking to assert their dominance over the contested territories of the Levant. The battle, though fierce, ended in a stalemate, neither side achieving a decisive victory. What followed, however, was unprecedented in the annals of ancient warfare: a peace treaty. The Egyptian-Hittite peace treaty, preserved on a clay tablet and inscribed on the walls of the Temple of Karnak in Egypt, is the earliest known peace treaty in history. It established a lasting peace between the two empires, recognizing their mutual spheres of influence and pledging mutual assistance in the face of external threats. This treaty, a testament to the pragmatism and diplomacy of both Ramses II and Hattusili III, ushered in a period of peace and prosperity for both empires. It allowed for cultural exchange, trade, and cooperation, demonstrating that even the most bitter rivals could find common ground and forge a more peaceful future. It stands as a beacon of hope from a distant past, a reminder that even in the midst of conflict, diplomacy and cooperation can prevail. As the Hittites and Egyptians forged their fragile peace, a new power was consolidating its hold on the eastern edge of the Eurasian continent. In the fertile plains of the Yellow River Valley, the Zhou Dynasty, inheriting the legacy of the Shang, established a new era in Chinese history, one marked by a unique political philosophy, the Mandate of Heaven. The Mandate of Heaven, a concept that would shape Chinese political thought for millennia, posited that the right to rule was granted by heaven, a cosmic force that bestowed its favor on a just and virtuous ruler. It was not a divine right passed down through bloodlines, but a conditional mandate, contingent upon the ruler's moral rectitude and ability to maintain harmony and prosperity within the realm. This concept had profound implications for Chinese governance. A ruler who lost the mandate of heaven, evidenced by natural disasters, famines, or social unrest, could be legitimately overthrown and replaced by a more virtuous leader. This created a system of accountability, albeit an imperfect one, where rulers were expected to rule justly and for the benefit of their people. To legitimize their rule, the Zhou kings established a feudal system, dividing their realm into smaller territories governed by loyal vassals. These vassals, in turn, owed allegiance and tribute to the king, creating a hierarchical structure that bound the vast territory together under a centralized authority. This system, while promoting stability and order, also contained the seeds of its own fragmentation, as ambitious vassals could, and often did, challenge the power of the king. While the Zhou kings consolidated their power and expanded their realm, a profound intellectual and philosophical revolution was underway in China. Thinkers and sages grappled with fundamental questions about the nature of reality, the meaning of life, and the proper ordering of society. From these inquiries emerged two of China's most enduring philosophical traditions, Confucianism and Taoism. Confucius, born into a time of social upheaval and political turmoil, sought to restore order and harmony to society. He believed that this could be achieved through a return to traditional values, emphasizing respect for elders, filial piety, and the cultivation of virtue through education and self-cultivation. His teachings, emphasizing ethical conduct, social responsibility, and the importance of rituals and traditions, would have a profound and lasting impact on Chinese culture and society. Taoism, in contrast to Confucianism's emphasis on social order and human action, offered a different path, one of acceptance, yielding, and harmony with the natural order of the cosmos. Laozi, the legendary founder of Taoism, taught that the universe is governed by the Tao, an ineffable force that flows through all things. True wisdom, according to Taoism, lay in aligning oneself with the Tao, accepting the ebb and flow of life, and finding contentment in simplicity and non-action. These two seemingly contrasting philosophies, Confucianism and Taoism, would coexist and complement each other in Chinese thought, offering different but not necessarily contradictory paths to wisdom and fulfillment. Confucianism provided a framework for social harmony, while Taoism offered a counterbalance, emphasizing the importance of individual intuition, spontaneity, and living in accordance with nature. Together, they would shape the intellectual and spiritual landscape of China for centuries to come. While philosophers in China pondered the nature of virtue and the cosmic order, a Babylonian king, Hammurabi, sought to establish order in his realm through a more earthly means, a comprehensive legal code. The Code of Hammurabi, inscribed on a towering stele for all to see, stands as one of the earliest and most complete legal codes in human history. It offers a fascinating glimpse into the social structures, values, and challenges of life in ancient Mesopotamia. Hammurabi's code was not merely a collection of abstract principles. It addressed a wide range of practical matters, from trade disputes and property rights to family law, personal injury, and criminal offenses. It laid out specific punishments for specific crimes, often based on the principle of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a form of retributive justice intended to deter future wrongdoing. The code, however, was not without its hierarchies. Punishments varied depending on the social status of both the victim and the perpetrator. A crime committed against a member of the elite class carried a harsher penalty than a similar crime committed against a commoner or a slave. This reflected the deeply ingrained social stratification of Babylonian society, where status and privilege played a significant role in determining one's fate. Despite its flaws, the Code of Hammurabi represented a significant step forward in the development of law and governance. It established a set of written rules, known and accessible to all, replacing the arbitrary rule of individual kings or local customs with a more predictable and, in theory, impartial system of justice. This emphasis on codified law would have a lasting impact on legal traditions in the Near East and beyond. As empires rose and fell in the Near East, a new civilization was taking shape on the shores of the Aegean Sea. The Minoans, named after the mythical king Minos, established a flourishing civilization on the island of Crete. Their palaces were adorned with vibrant frescoes depicting scenes of bull-leaping, processions, and marine life, hinting at a culture that celebrated nature, ritual, and the bounty of the sea. The Minoans were skilled sailors and traders. Their ships plied the waters of the Aegean and beyond, establishing trade networks that connected them to Egypt, the Near East, and the wider Mediterranean world. They exchanged goods, ideas and technologies, extending their influence far beyond their island home. The Minoan civilization, however, was not destined to last. A series of natural disasters, possibly volcanic eruptions or earthquakes, weakened their cities and disrupted their trade networks. The Mycenaeans, a more warlike people from mainland Greece, took advantage of their vulnerability, conquering Crete and absorbing much of Minoan culture into their own. The Mycenaeans, named after their most prominent city, Mycenae, were a warrior culture. Their kings were buried in elaborate tombs filled with weapons, armor and gold. They were skilled in bronze working, their swords and chariots feared throughout the Aegean. They, too, were avid traders, their ships venturing as far as Egypt and the Black Sea. The Mycenaean civilization, however, would also meet a dramatic end. A combination of factors, including climate change, internal strife, and possibly the arrival of new waves of migrants known as the Sea Peoples, led to their decline and eventual collapse. This ushered in a period of upheaval and transition known as the Greek Dark Ages. From the ashes of this collapse, however, a new civilization would eventually emerge: classical Greece. As empires waxed and waned in Mesopotamia and Egypt, a new power was emerging in the rugged highlands of Anatolia. The Hittites, a people known for their mastery of ironworking and their formidable chariots, forged a powerful empire that would challenge the established order of the Near East. Their rise, marked by military prowess, diplomatic cunning, and a unique blend of cultural influences, left an indelible mark on the ancient world. The Hittites were not a monolithic people, but a confederation of tribes united under a powerful king. They arrived in Anatolia around the 18th century BCE, bringing with them a knowledge of ironworking that would give them a significant technological advantage over their bronze-wielding neighbors. Iron, stronger and more abundant than bronze, allowed the Hittites to equip their armies with superior weapons and armor, making them a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. Their empire, centered on the city of Hattusa, strategically located in north-central Anatolia, expanded rapidly under a series of ambitious rulers. They conquered neighboring kingdoms, securing access to valuable resources, trade routes, and strategic territories. Their expansion brought them into conflict with the Egyptians, culminating in the epic Battle of Kadesh, a clash of empires that would reshape the political landscape of the Near East. The Hittites, however, were not just skilled warriors, they were also shrewd diplomats and administrators. They established a complex administrative system, borrowing elements from the conquered peoples they ruled, creating a tapestry of cultural influences that blended Mesopotamian, Egyptian, and indigenous Anatolian traditions. Their legal code, less draconian than Hammurabi's code, emphasized reconciliation and restitution over harsh punishments, reflecting a more pragmatic approach to justice. While the Hittites were forging their empire in Anatolia, a very different civilization was flourishing on the islands and shores of the Aegean Sea. The Minoans, named after the mythical king Minos, created a vibrant culture on the island of Crete. Their palaces were adorned with colorful frescoes depicting scenes of athletic feats, religious rituals, and the natural world, suggesting a society that celebrated life's pleasures and lived in harmony with its surroundings. The Minoans were a seafaring people. Their ships, adorned with distinctive white sails, plied the waters of the Aegean and beyond, establishing trade networks that connected them to Egypt, the Near East, and the wider Mediterranean world. They traded in pottery, textiles, olive oil, and other goods, their ships carrying not only merchandise but also ideas and cultural influences that spread throughout the region. Their palaces, labyrinthine complexes of rooms, courtyards, and passageways, were centers of power, religion, and commerce. The Palace of Knossos, the largest and most impressive of these palaces, with its colorful frescoes, sophisticated drainage system, and massive storage jars, hints at a society of considerable wealth and sophistication. The Minoan civilization, however, was not destined to last. A series of natural disasters, possibly volcanic eruptions on the nearby island of Thera, modern Santorini, weakened their cities and disrupted their trade networks. The Mycenaeans, a more warlike people from mainland Greece, took advantage of their vulnerability, conquering Crete and absorbing much of Minoan culture into their own. The Mycenaeans, named after their most prominent city Mycenae, were a warrior culture. Their kings were buried in elaborate tombs filled with weapons, armor, and gold, their exploits immortalized in the epic poems of Homer. They were skilled in bronze working, their swords and chariots feared throughout the Aegean. They too were avid traders, their ships venturing as far as Egypt and the Black Sea, their culture leaving its mark on the regions they touched. From the first stirrings of life in the primordial soup to the rise and fall of empires, our journey from atoms to empires has been one of remarkable transformation. We have witnessed the emergence of intelligence, the birth of civilization, and the enduring power of human ingenuity, ambition, and, at times, our capacity for both great good and terrible destruction. The echoes of this epic journey resonate in the world we inhabit today. The innovations of our ancestors, from the mastery of fire to the invention of agriculture, from the development of writing to the codification of law, laid the foundation for the complex societies we live in today. Their struggles, their triumphs, and their failures offer valuable lessons for our own time. As we grapple with the challenges of the 21st century, from climate change to global inequality, from technological disruption to the enduring threat of conflict, we can draw inspiration and wisdom from the long and winding path that has brought us to this point. The story of civilization is not a linear progression, but a complex tapestry woven from countless individual threads. It is a story of innovation and adaptation, of conflict and cooperation, of the enduring human spirit's capacity to create, destroy, and rebuild. It is a story that continues to unfold, with each generation adding its own chapter to the ever-evolving narrative of human history. As we look back on this epic journey, from atoms to empires, we can find both a sense of awe at how far we've come and a renewed sense of responsibility for shaping the chapters yet to be